Hello, people. I am JABY KOAY. This is my guest, Achara KIRK.
Hello.
We just watched MS DHONI The Untold Story. It's been told now.
All together.
So, this was actually a cool movie. I liked it. I don't know anything about cricket.
Yes, I was kind of having
all.
to explain stuff to you, but I don't even really know that much, but I know a little bit.
So, for me, my biggest takeaway from this was the story itself. Just from the script standpoint, I was very intrigued by the story. I thought that it was great that we're taking this person who is a renowned hero and we're just humanizing him essentially and showing all the multiple setbacks he had to deal with in his life, the scheduling and whatnot, just the practical or the practicality of trying to be a student and be a sportsman, be a ticketing person and be a sportsman, and having to constantly delegate your time between these two different things. It's quite taxing. I mean, from speaking from experience of doing multiple things, and same with you, just like trying to lead these two different lives is very, very difficult. And I loved that this movie was really taking the time aside to show you that and illustrate just the complexity of it. And then like you lose sleep, and it's just all in the effort of fulfilling your passion.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and also, it's as you said, it humanized him, but it also showed that he came from humble beginnings and he had a lot of help to get to where he got. And being someone like him from I'm not quite sure how small his village is, but it had the feeling of being, a smaller, less developed area. And to be their champion as well.
Right.
There was that great bit with his friend who owned the sports shop, and he was like, I'm not a good cricketer, but if I can help him
it's like
along the way, then I feel like I am too, which I thought was a nice sentiment.
Right. That's actually a really good point to bring up, because a lot of times when you see these stories, it paints the picture that the person was a hero unto himself. He John Wayne'd his way through it and was just like his own champion all the way through from start to finish. And while there are definitely stories like that, and ultimately your plight falls on you, he definitely had a lot of emotional, financial, mental support along the way that got him to where he was. I mean, the coach from the school changed his life completely.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even have any interest in playing cricket. He wanted to play soccer, and this guy put him on this path to become one of the greatest cricketers of all time, which is just crazy when you think about that. Like, and it's like he had multiple people like this in his life, and yeah, I mean, that's great that they took the time aside in the film to introduce you to these people who backed him from the time he was a child, essentially.
And also, it makes me think of something that my dad has been trying to get me into. I can't remember who wrote these books, but it talks about your element. And I feel like his cricket coach really saw in him his element as a cricketer, which maybe he didn't know that he didn't know that he had that potential or that interest or that drive, but when that opportunity presented itself to him, he grabbed it with both hands and took his natural affinity and talent for the sport and just went with it all the way, sacrificing everything, working so hard. So what do they say? It takes 10,000 hours to become a master.
That's what they say in Outliers or Outliers, whatever the name of the book is. Yeah.
So he definitely took the time. When you watch the film and you see how hard he practiced, how much he sacrificed, and no wonder he's so good as well, as well as having the natural talent, of course.
Well, there's two things that for some reason that's making me think of. One thing is how he handled defeat. He handled it. I don't know how accurate the film is. I'm going to assume, for the sake of conversation, that the film is fairly accurate, at least with regards to his behavior. the way he handled defeat was very intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't cry, he wouldn't complain, he wouldn't throw things, he wasn't violent, he would kind of smile about it and digest it and go, okay, well, here's what I can do. And it seemed like it was always on his mind. He was constantly processing it, how to improve and how to get better at his craft. On the flip side, the movie doesn't hide from his failures. And I like that.
Yeah.
Like when he's messing up at the games, like they made a point to show you that in the film, to show you, like I said a minute ago, his setbacks, which are really important because it makes you root for him more, and it makes you happier when he succeeds, when he does great at the games and stuff like that. Even though I have no idea how any of that shit works or what any of those numbers mean.
You know, it's like baseball, but not at all.
So, sorry, I'm just making a note here on the side so I know one thing else I want to talk about. So let's discuss the acting for a second, I guess. I like the actor who played MS Dhoni. I thought that he played it very real. The younger, when he played his younger self, like his really much younger self, like in his mid-teens, I guess, I don't know how to feel about that because I was kind of distracted by something else going on, which we'll get to in a second.
Right.
But overall, his acting as a late teen and adult, I was actually pretty happy with.
Yeah, I totally bought his kind of stoic style.
Yeah.
Which
it felt real.
Which I think is kind of what the character is supposed to be like. I have no idea what MS Dhoni is like in real life, but definitely the character seemed to be very stoic and thoughtful and a little bit playful as well.
Yeah. Well, he definitely felt like a real person in the film. It didn't feel like a character being put on. It felt like, that's a real dude I'm looking at. The only time I didn't feel that way was when it broke into these long scenes for the songs to play.
Oh yeah.
Then it transcended into this, or quickly became this other film for a while, and then it's like, okay, now we're back to the movie. Now I respect that. That's fine. They like songs are a very integral part of Indian films. It just, as an American viewer, it's like, okay, so we're taking a few minutes aside now to listen to this song and have some scenes.
Watch a music video.
To watch a music video, essentially, and that's when it felt like it was bordering on artificial for me, and then it went back to the film again. And yeah, I mean, anytime he was talking, anytime it was just on him or he was thinking, like, and you can see him thinking, it felt like a real person. And it sounds weird to say that, but that's important, where it doesn't feel like it's being put on.
Yeah.
And the girl who plays Priyanka,
I think Jaby's got a new crush.
when we were in the car.
So we had this moment where we were both kind of venting about something that kind of frustrated us about the film, and there was this moment of silence, and then I just went, but his first girlfriend though, was she not really pretty?
Like, that's not what you said. What you said was, damn, son.
I did. I mean, I think I said that when she sat down next to him on the plane. I was like, damn, son, you better do something about that. That hot girl is sitting next to you on the plane.
Yeah, when she showed up in the film, it was almost distracting because it was just kind of this radiance that came out of the screen. I'm like, whoa, that's very different from... Because everyone else in the film looks very real.
Yeah.
And she shows up and it's like...
Oh, look at me in my yellow dress.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so shiny and pretty and cute.
The thing is, I'm not familiar with her. She's unknown for me. She might be a famous actress and I just never heard of her, but I don't know who she is. So she still felt real, but real goddamn beautiful at the same time. I'm like, good God. And his reaction to her, like... He was nervous next to her, and I was like, "Yep, that feels about right."
Yeah.
That's
very cute.
That scene when they first meet felt very believable. The way he was handling it. So before I forget, the one thing I didn't like about that scene on the airplane. This is assuming you guys have seen it. When she's asking for Sachin's autograph. That's how you say his name, right? I think it's how you say his name. I'm sorry if I'm saying Sachin's name wrong. Assuming that I'm saying his name correctly, when she asks for his autograph and MS Dhoni goes to pick it up, goes to ask for it, they did a POV shot from Sachin's perspective rather than just having an actor play him. And that bothered me for some reason. I'm like, why couldn't we just have an actor stand in to play Sachin or get a cameo from Sachin or something like that? For some reason, that irritated me a little bit, but that's minute.
I have a minor thing, actually, about the girlfriends. Now, I realize this film isn't mainly about a love story, but I kind of felt like they were just...
Afterthoughts?
Yeah, like they were just two-dimensional. All they did was smile and look pretty and like flounce around in the montages.
Well, that's because the film had so much going on.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
Like I understand that that's not the main focus of the film, but I kind of wish that maybe they were a little bit more well-rounded. But
it's unfortunate that they were really just an object of struggle for him. They weren't really characters, so to speak. They were just representations of other hurdles he had to overcome. Like, I mean, yes, I normally would be inclined to agree and go, yeah, it'd be great if they were more three-dimensional and fleshed out. But the film was already it was long, and it had a lot it was trying to cram in there. I mean, I personally would have maybe taken away from other scenes to give more to them and give more life to those relationships. Me being an American filmmaker, I probably would have made the music scenes a lot shorter to allow more time for us to spend with those characters together and actually understand like why MS Dhoni liked them, what was special about their relationship that makes it different from other people's relationships.
Yeah.
As opposed to, because all I got was, he's MS Dhoni, he's a celebrity, so clearly they're going to be in love with him. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I could see why he liked them, but I didn't really understand why. I wanted to see more from their dynamic, essentially.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, to make them more three-dimensional. That being said, I liked their contribution to the film as hurdles, which sounds kind of messed up, but you can see in that there's a scene when Priyanka goes, do you love me? Or you don't have to tell me how you feel. Because she says, I love you, but you don't have to. And you can see in his eyes, he's like, oh, Jesus. Like, because he explains it. He's like, I just got on this team. Yeah. I literally just got on this national team. Like, you got to slow down a little bit. And I could see his reservation because he likes her a lot. But he's got this passion he's trying to stay faithful to. He doesn't want to fuck it up. And I totally respect that.
Yeah, 100%.
And it just felt genuine for me. Like the way that it was all played out, even though they just flounce around.
You know,
just smiling.
Lots of flouncing. I like a bit of flouncing.
The second girl wasn't that though. The second girl felt a little bit like she had a little bit more going on.
Yeah.
I liked how when they first met, she gave zero fucks.
Yeah, like, she's like, I'm sorry, I don't know who
I don't
you
even
are.
like cricket.
I don't even like cricket. What? But obviously he found that refreshing because everyone around him wants to kiss his butt.
Right.
So.
It's a bit ironic, but my favorite actor in the film, I wouldn't say he's my favorite character, but my favorite actor in the film was MS Dhoni's dad.
I was gonna say that. I was waiting for like a moment to be like, I actually really enjoyed his acting. I thought it was very understated, but you could feel the emotion.
Understated, that's the word I've been looking for the last 12 months. Like, I keep meaning to say understated, and I keep saying underplayed.
Oh, understated.
Understated,
JABY.
Jesus Christ. Thank you.
You're
understated.
welcome.
Okay, so yeah, he was very understated, but he moved me. Like, he had for me, my favorite performance in the whole film. Whenever he was on screen, it's just like, I don't know, it was... I don't even know how to articulate it properly. Just there was something really special about his performance that felt like a real dad.
Yeah.
And from the very beginning, when he walks in and he sees his kids, MS Dhoni and the other one, doing the homework, and he just totally identifies the bullshit. You know, and that's go ahead.
Oh no, go. Yeah, you finish.
I don't know when he realizes just how proud he is of his son.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
I'm trying not to say specifically when that happens, but it moved me. It moved me quite a bit, and at this point I'm just going to be redundant and repeat myself. So I'll leave it at that. Is there anything else you want to add about the dad?
No, I that was my favorite scene. That bit where he is truly proud of his son for going for his dream. Like, I wish one day I had that moment with my parents.
I'm sure it's already happened.
I'm still waiting for it.
You're seen by millions of people. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
But
Asian parents, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into some of the other stuff. I really appreciated we kind of touched on it tangentially earlier, but I love the philosophy in the film, and that philosophy is, well, I just did an interview recently, and it might be out. The article, it might be out already because it's well past midnight for us. So the woman who interviewed me said that it would come out at noon. Neither here nor there.
Oh wow!
By the time this video comes out, the article will be out. And one of the things that was asked of me was advice I have for people who want to do YouTube and whatnot, and who have a passion of some kind. And one of the things I said was, you have to embrace the hard work. You have to embrace the challenge and not be afraid of it. And that I felt that this film was really illustrating that. It's like he had a lot of hurdles in his life and a lot of challenges he had to come up against, and he didn't shy away from it. He faced it head on, and he did his best to please everyone and himself, and ultimately realized, okay, I have to choose between pleasing them or me, and I've got to please me first, and then if I'm happy, everyone else will be happy.
Yeah.
Essentially is what the film's talking about. And I just think that it's a very inspirational film.
Yeah.
His story in general is very inspirational. Is there anything else you took from that? I mean, the hard work is basically...
Yeah.
I remarked on that from the time I saw the trailer with my brother. The hard work is a very fundamental part of success. For anyone who's passionate or has a dream, like, you have to be prepared for that. And it's like nothing... It's almost like having a kid. Nothing quite prepares you for the difficulty and the challenge that you face when going for something, because there's a lot of moments where you'll feel like giving up or you'll get depressed, and he outright says it, like he was depressed at one point because he didn't know where his life was going. And it's kind of crazy to think that he had a moment like that considering where he is today.
Yeah.
You know?
But there was a good little exchange between him and his boss at the train station.
Yeah, that's when he said it.
Yeah, but it's true, because life is like a game of cricket or whatever sport you like.
Whatever analogy you want to put
whatever
on there.
analogy you want, but you're gonna be thrown different types of balls and you're gonna have to deal with it in different ways. Yeah. So, and the scoreboard just keeps on racking up points, so you can't get too depressed about it. And I mean,
even so, you power through that. You just keep powering through it.
I always think of life as a wheel, right? Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. But if you're down, you know at some point you're going to be up again. So.
And then you'll be down again, and then up again.
And up and down. That's just the way it is. Yeah. So just carry on. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Chugga, chugga, chugga.
So, okay, we've covered a lot of positive aspects that I liked about Emma Stoney. For me, the biggest gripe I have with the movie, I think, is the music. The music for me, it overstayed its welcome. It got in the way of the emotional aspects of the film. Like, there was a tragedy in the middle of the movie, and whoever was in charge of when music cues happen decided, let's have lots of music right now to make this moment really sad. Whereas, if when that event happened, it was just silent, and the other characters react to it, it's just silent, I think that would have hit me so much harder.
Yeah.
Well,
I already knew it was coming. I told you.
Irrespective, like, I'm just saying, like, sometimes the music just got in the way. Like, right from the very beginning of the movie, you had this heavy rock music, and I'm like, why? because MS Dhoni is a superstar. I get it, but why this rock music? And then it switches over to 1980s kids movie music, and I'm like, what the hell is the tone that this film is striking? I'm so confused right now. And then it goes into this romantic stuff at some point, and it's got the lyrical music in the background that sounds ultra romantic, and I'm like, now we're in a completely different film. And then sometimes the music was dramatic, as it should, because it's a drama. I wanted more of that music if you're going to have music in this film, which largely it did not need. It was not a requisite here to feel what was going on with the characters. I think that it took away more than added, for me personally.
It was a little distracting, yeah. I'll agree.
So I wish that they had handled that a little differently. There were, like you said, there were scenes that was spent a lot of time on that I wish that they didn't. Like, there was one scene later on in MS Dhoni's life when someone from his old village comes to see him, and the point of the scene was that he's still humble.
Yeah,
he still remembers.
He doesn't forget his friends.
He doesn't forget his beginnings.
Yeah.
Which is great. That scene didn't need to be as long as it was, considering where it fell in the movie. I'm like, all right, we're at 2.5 hours. I don't know why the scene is the length that is, and it might. What might be a contributing factor here is that we both had long days right before we saw the film. It was like midnight when that scene happened. So right now it's 2:30 a.m. and we're shooting this review.
Yeah.
So that might have been a contributing factor to why I responded that way in the scene.
And we were hungry.
But I could still identify so many positive aspects, so I don't think it was that much of a contributing factor. The film could have been shorter. I feel like there's a 2-hour version of this movie.
That would have been perfect.
That would have been perfect. That would have been like, felt right. Or keep your length, but give more scenes to the love interest in this film. Because obviously it had a tremendous impact on MS Dhoni's life. And it even had a tremendous impact on his game. So it should have. I go back on my word earlier. Like, they should have spent more time with those people to make them more three-dimensional, because they were so important to him.
Yeah.
Rather than being an afterthought.
Yeah.
Did I cover that?
Yeah.
Well, the last thing I want to talk about, and then we're going to wrap this up, is the VFX, the visual effects in the film. It's not indicative by the trailer, but there's a lot of visual effects in this movie. And given that it's MS Dhoni, given that this is definitely going to make its money back because it's MS Dhoni, because it's a cricket film, I wish they had spent a little bit more time on the visual effects all around, because they were constantly, maybe it was just too hard. I don't know. Maybe it was just beyond reason to pull off, but anytime it was actual footage of MS Dhoni, anytime that he was supposed to be really young, or when he was on a field in a sequence that would have been really way too expensive to shoot, I could tell it was visual effects. And sometimes it was so distracting. They were trying to go for the same kind of effects that they employed in Benjamin Button, the Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Now, we're talking about two different industries here. Like, one industry that really depends on making money off its visual effects, whereas India is depending more on its good, well-crafted stories, which is really what you should be prioritizing.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna have visual effects, all I'm trying to say is get it right. You know what I'm saying? And otherwise, try to find a way to not show that at all, because anytime I would have rather them had a different actor rather than trying to put Sushant Singh Rajput's face on a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was. I mean, for me, even in American films, like, I'm thinking of Captain America, when what's his face was like small. Even that's distracting for me.
Yeah, it was a little bit.
It's just weird. It would have been much better if it was a different actor, and if they were going to show those scenes of him on the field, it's like trying to replace his face and get that actor to match MS Dhoni's movement to replace his face in the real footage of the games. It's super noticeable For me it was.
Yeah.
And so I didn't like that. I tried to just let it go and buy it and just go, well, it's...
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's
Yeah.
cool. They're replacing his face again. Like, I couldn't help
You're
it.
just so picky.
Am I? You didn't notice? I noticed.
I did, but I let it go. I was like, okay, whatever.
Well, good for you. I'm JABY. I do that.
I know.
I just,
know. Can I just say something though?
What's that?
Like, not about the film, but about the film going experience.
Oh, with other Indians?
Yeah, it was so awesome. I really, one of the things I love about going to the cinema is the like the community aspect, that you're sharing an experience with a group of people who are into the film as well.
Yeah.
And it was really fun
Yes.
when people were cheering for India.
Yes.
And cheering for DHONI.
I didn't enjoy the people right behind us who kept talking. I just don't know. You guys tell me in the comments. Like, I don't know what the etiquette is when Indians go to movie theaters, but like typically when people talk, because I was in a movie theater with a bunch of Indians, I was like, well, no one schooled me on etiquette when it comes to watching movies when it's filled with Indians. So I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut because no one else is bitching. But I wanted to turn and shout at them. I was so frustrated.
Oh, really?
I'm like, shut the fuck up! Like, I really wanted them to be quiet. Not when they were not when they were shouting for MS Dhoni or India or
Yeah.
etc.
That was fun.
It's just they were just chit-chatting the whole movie like a couple of old housewives. I'm like, just shut the fuck up. Let me watch the movie.
Well, also probably for them, they probably know a lot about this person as a national figure.
Yes.
So they're probably up on the background in the news or whatever. So they're like, oh yeah, so maybe this happened and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope that's what they were talking about. Either way, just don't talk during the fucking movie. Oh. It's a movie. Like, there's other people there. Now, I don't know. I could go on and on about how much that frustrates me, but because I just don't. I like to be in a sort of a artificial vacuum of some kind, where just nothing's bothering me. I want the movie to give me everything,
right.
and nothing else disturbs me during that experience. And so I'm just wondering if in India people chit chat during the films all the time. I would imagine they don't, but you guys tell me. I'm curious. Because
who knows?
That's going to determine, like,
whether or not you go and
whether
watch films.
Whether or not go. Yeah, because I'm not going to go to a movie theater in India if everyone's chit-chatting the whole time, because then I'm going to get super distracted. I want to just watch the movie. But that's me because I'm super, like, you got to understand, when I go to a movie theater, I find the center seat in the center of the theater with the most optimal sound and the optimal viewing experience, and it fucks with me if someone's sitting in front of me and I see their head just in front of the screen a little bit, or if there's like a huge person on this side and a short person on this side, because then I'm getting more audio on this side. Like, it all has to be perfect.
I didn't even realize this when I always like to choose the middle center, but I don't pay that much attention.
I know. Well, because they worked hard on the movie, and I want to get the best version of that experience possible from them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to appreciate it. What else? But I did enjoy hearing them shout. That was cool.
That was really fun.
It was like being part of the game.
It felt like we were in it.
Just to recap a little bit, I really like the acting. I like the story a lot. I like it a tremendous amount, actually. I enjoyed the philosophy in the film quite a bit. For me, the story and the philosophy are almost one and the same. It's almost like a great parable that you can take a lot away from. Yeah, for me it was inspiring. Just, it's refreshing to see what a hero, so to speak, went through, and it makes you feel like, gosh, if he can go through all that, maybe I can,
I could work a little bit harder.
Yeah, exactly. Those were the positive things for me.
Yeah.
The acting, the philosophy, and the story.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks you guys so much for hanging out with us. Please be sure to check out Achara KIRK on the social media. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out other reactions, reviews, short films, and video game related videos. In the description below is a playlist to the short films. You can click on that and see what I keep asking you to watch.
Watch it!
Yeah. Alright, you guys. I'm JABY KOAY. This is
Achara KIRK.
Peace out.